Hi guys, welcome back to Top Lesson for You. Dear friends, as we are discussing about the branches of the celiac trunk, right? So you know that in the previous lecture I have recorded about some main points about the celiac trunk. Then in a video we recorded about the branches of the left gastric artery. What are those branches which are present, which are given by the left gastric artery, right? Now we are going to record about this second branch of the celiac trunk, right? So this is our splenic artery. Now let us focus on the branches of the splenic artery. I know this diagram is a little bit complicated, but don't worry, whenever I start teaching you all these branches, it will be very easy for each of you to understand all these branches, right? So our aim, as I have told you in the previous lecture, that our aim is to discuss all the blood supply of the abdominal viscera, right? So I am discussing about those big branches which arise from the anterior aspects of the abdominal aorta, and they are responsible to supply blood to different viscera which are present in the abdominal cavity, right? So we know that we have recorded about the branches of the left gastric artery. You can go and watch that lecture, and about the celiac trunk also. So let us focus on our lecture regarding the splenic artery. Splenic artery. Right, friends. So this splenic artery is also known as, we can write here as that, lineal artery. L-I-E-N-A-L, lineal artery. Okay, so we can also call it lineal artery or splenic artery. What is splenic artery? Look carefully. The longest branch of the celiac trunk, right? The longest branch of the celiac trunk, which is mostly responsible to supply blood to pancreas, to the left side of the stomach, and to the spleen, right? So how we define the splenic artery? Splenic artery, very simply, it is a branch of the celiac artery. Let's write it here. A branch of celiac trunk, okay. Then it is the longest branch of this trunk. It is the longest branch of the celiac trunk. As you can see here, it begins at here and moves like this to the left side of the body to supply blood to the spleen, right? So look carefully, it is a very longer branch. It is the longest branch of the celiac trunk. The next important point about it is that it moves anterior to, let's write here and then I will tell you what I am going to write out now. It moves anterior to left kidney and adrenal gland and posterior to stomach. You can see there, posterior to stomach. Done. Look carefully, friends. In the previous lecture I told you that if you see this dark line, it means that these arteries are present anteriorly to the organ, and if you see the dotted lines, it means that I have shown this artery as this is present on the posterior aspects of the viscera or organ. So look carefully, this artery, you can see this is shown in dark line, this artery is also shown in dark line, but this artery, when it moves more laterally to the left side, it goes to the posterior aspects of the stomach. If you hold the stomach like this, then you can see the splenic artery is present behind the or posterior to your stomach, right? So that's why I have said that this artery moves anterior to kidneys. How? Look carefully. If you're looking into the person from the lateral aspect, okay, let me draw here a person. This is his thoracic cavity, this is his back, right? and then there is his abdominal cavity like this. This is again his back. Okay, so look, we can see here in the abdominal cavity, here are the kidney, for example, and here is the stomach of this person, right? So this artery, as this is the anterior part and this is the posterior, so this artery bifurcates from the celiac trunk and moves like this, right? So that's why I have told you, I have mentioned here that this artery is present anterior to kidneys and posterior to stomach, right? Posterior to stomach and anterior to the kidneys. Okay, then the length of this artery is about 10.6 centimeter, right? What is the length of this artery? Its length is about 10.6 centimeter. When it arises and moves in that manner to the left side, to the lateral side of the body, to the spleen, so its length becomes about 10 centimeter. Clear, friends? And what is the diameter of this artery? Diameter of this artery, so its diameter is about 5.5 mm, 5.5 millimeters. It's a it's a little bit narrower artery, so its diameter is about 5.5 mm. Now, what are the branches which arise from this artery? Right, so you have to focus clearly to know, to understand all those branches of the splenic artery clearly, as the diagram is a little bit complicated, but don't worry, I will make it very easy for each of you. Branches of splenic artery. Right, let's focus on all those branches, and then we will clear all our doubts here in small diagrams. I will draw small diagrams to clear all those difficulties. Look carefully, friends. Listen, this is our splenic artery. You can see here this splenic artery, when it moves a little bit lateral side towards the left side of the abdominal cavity, it gives its first branch which moves down to the pancreas. Look, as you can see here, I have drawn the pancreas. If you follow this green line, you can see the dotted manner, as you know that it is present behind the stomach, right? So it goes towards its tail goes towards the lower aspects or the inferior aspects of the spleen, right? And it comes back. So it is the neck of the pancreas. This is the head of the pancreas, then the body, and then the tail. You can see clearly, right? Okay. So this is our splenic artery. So the splenic artery gives the first branch, this one, which comes down to the posterior aspects of the pancreas. That's why we call it dorsal pancreatic artery. We will see now, and it enters the pancreas, and what happens to it we will see in a while. Next, when it goes a little bit more laterally, then it goes posterior to the stomach, right behind the stomach, and it gives another branch. This branch comes to the pancreas again and binds and anastomoses with the inferior pancreatic artery. We will see them, don't worry. Right now, just follow me to make a clear sketch in your mind that what is happening here, right? So first the splenic artery, then it gives this first branch. We will name all these arteries, don't worry. Then it moves behind the stomach and gives this branch which also leads to pancreas, right? The body of pancreas. Then further moving forward, it becomes a little bit curved, and what is the benefit of this curve is I will tell you. Right now, look, it divides into 3 sub trunks, right? All these 3 trunks move towards the spleen, and then all of them, each of them, divide into 4 to 6 sub branches to the segments of the spleen. Right, so look, when this branch moves up towards the spleen, this is the superior, this is the middle, and this is the inferior branch. Look carefully, it gives off some small branches, and these branches are called the short gastric arteries. Right, first of all, we should make a clear sketch, then we will go in detail of the branches, don't worry. Then you can see here this branch is entering the middle segment of the spleen, and then gives off further branches. We are not concerned with that, but we will name all these arteries Look, these are our short gastric arteries. So there are 5 to 7 or 8 short gastric arteries we will see. Look, this artery, this is a branch of the splenic artery towards the spleen. We call it splenic branch of the splenic branch of splenic artery. Okay, then it gives a branch, this fourth branch, and it comes to the tail of the pancreas. That's why we call it the artery to the tail of pancreas. We will see. Then look carefully, this branch gives a very beautiful branch, and it comes down to the greater curvature of the stomach in the left side of the body, right? On the left side of the stomach, right? And we will name all these arteries, and what are these we will see. Look carefully. Then further down, all these branches will supply blood to the greater curvature of the stomach, and then all these small branches will make anastomosis with these arteries, which I have discussed in while I was discussing about the left gastric artery, right? So this was a very brief about these branches. Now let us go in detail and name each artery and see what do these arteries do.